Hey, good morning guys. Got a few little bits and bobs to do, a little bit of tidying up and a little bit of wrapping up on some kind of client requests. This one's for Andy at Futsal. If you've not seen it already, the Barons Wall range has been extended to include, what do we call them now? Orcs and elves. So if you look up Hobday and Hicks, I might have the link in the description actually, but if you look up Hobday and Hicks on Facebook, you'll see the group where basically he's posting all of the sculpts and the updates and stuff. I think it's probably going to come as a Kickstarter project, to be honest, but I've been making some of the shields and weapons and stuff for him. And we had a little bit of a sizing issue on the spear tip, so I'm just going to go and adjust that in line with something I've made from previously. I'm going to go import a file I've just exported from another file while I had you guys on stream starting mode. Let's just find it. It was called Futsal Build Head with Ruler. Copy that now, post that in here with the spears. I'm just going to size this so that the ruler is the ruler's consistent size with the one that's already in the scene. Should be give or take roughly about it. Touch under. I don't quite understand why this doesn't work, but let's see why. There you go. Okay, so they're roughly aligned now. And then this here, the bill hook. What I need to do is I need to make sure that the socket on the new spear is about the same size as that. Okay, so you can see we've got a massive sizing issue. Oops, let's turn switch off. Right, now I did do more than one size of spear. Well, they all seem to be the same. Oh no, there are two different sizes there, sorry. one of these is that right? Right, so we take the one that's got the thicker wall. This is the one we're going to resize. Okay, so forget that one. Centralize this so it's there, down in the middle. Okay, so I'm just going to size this to the socket. So basically the bill hook, which is the grey item here, that's so we know that that one works okay. It's been printed and used many times, and the guys definitely know that there's not an issue with it. Okay, right, so now with that done, quick message from Woodpecker. Hey Rosie, how you doing, matey? Oh, do you know what? Let me switch multi-stream on as well, because if anyone's on Facebook or Instagram, I've missed you. Or YouTube, sorry. So I've not been ignoring you. Hope you're keeping well today, Rosie. I've had my head down for most of this. If I'm if I'm a bit late on replying to your comment, I apologise, mate. I could do with hiding all of these shields because they're annoying me at the moment. The shields, by the way, they've got like a there's a little bit of Greek, a little bit of Persian kind of feel about them. Let's get the slice circle. Sorry, mask circle. That's what I want. I'll just overshoot the centre a little bit, just so I've got the outside part selected there, okay? Whilst that's all the inside and all the outside selected, and then I can come up to this bit with my normal masking tool. Let's just unmask that. Okay, so the inside now is locked in. And what I want to do is I'm going to take my gizmo, bring it down to here. Might do. I think the pay here is to just also have let's just regulate this a little bit. Z and X is where I want to symmetrise this. Oh no, not on radial though. Set that. Now it looks like a very minor change, but what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to standardise the level of detail across the whole frontage. So when this is printed, it's going to be very small, but when it's printed, it's going to actually do the job. And be consistent. So we want it to look even across the board. That's a little bit bitty at the moment. Let's just get in there with this. Okay, so I think I'm all right here. I just need to bring this bit down. Bring this down as well in here. Perfect, nail it. Okay, next thing to do, I'm going to scrub the middle here with my dynamic tessellation on. Anytime you hear me say dynamic tessellation, I'm talking about Sculptress Pro mode, but I always forget it's called Sculptress Pro mode. Dynamic tessellation is basically the process it's actually physically doing. So it's creating tessellated geometry where it thinks it needs it. So instead of having to deform the mesh to make the detail work, it will create the mesh to allow the detail to work. That makes sense? great for miniature sculptures or anything that's going to be 3D printed where you don't have to worry about the topology. Lowered that a little bit now, carved it in a touch, polish up this interior face. Same for this bit here. I want this to obviously run down, so I do want this to be a smooth line, so I'm just going to just amend that and just modify it a touch, but okay, so that's now roughly the equivalent size as the bill. Let's delete that one. Delete that one. Delete that one. Just send them a snippet of that. Okay, so that's one job done. Pre-process it, decimate it so it's ready to go, keep it small and lightweight. Okay, now this one is going to be set to 100mm. It's going to be my export function. And then the other one is going to be the one that's going to save in. I actually want. So we're just saving it in the correct file, so the Dark Age Village. Ooh, where have we put it? Okay, so on to the next job. So next job for today, I'm going to take some of these the wall sections, these ones. So let's go back to that because George thinks it's too big. Okay, I screwed up here. Okay, so there were 15mm. Right, so it was 15 millimeters. George wants it 60%, so let's just do the maths. My brain is clearly not going to let me do this without some assistance this morning, so 15 millimeters divided by 100, 0.15 equals that times 60, 9 millimeters. Right, so we want it 9 millimeters in length. So at the moment it's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 millimeters. So let's just shrink this down by quite a bit. Going to do a little radial smooth on this. Oh god. Send that one over then, so going on here. Let's just get rid of these little anomalies. This is from being moved and pulled around. It's just some of the edges have got a little bit deformed. It's going to be so barely visible. I still want to get it right. Bust open the coffin. A little bit of reprofiling now. Okay, let me just go and check that there's not a duplicate in the folder. Let's put it at 1056 sorted. Right, there we go. Right, I think that should be fine. Okay then, so back to the walls. So we're going to take is it this one? Yeah, alright, here we go, the walls. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the best way of doing this, don't I? 10 walls in there. That's palm trees, that was horses, that is tents. I think I must have deleted my original block one, which is annoying. So I'm going to just copy that. I'm going to paste it here. So I'm going to duplicate one. Duplicate two. Three. It's got 4 wall sections. Duplicate, I want to rename it. Right, rename Adobe Wall Ruined 3. Okay, right, so the ruined ones, what we're going to do, various states of crumblingness. Now, they are already hollowed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice them. Why is this taking so long? Do a quick save. Because we know how ZBrush loves to throw you a curveball and crash you without notice. Green socket, put it where the red is. What's the width of that tip? Let me send him a message about the mast area here. Okay, what we'll do, let's just do the dynamo, shall we? Okay, now if I draw size small, and we radial symmetry might not work, but let's try it. Okay, now I'm going to invert this, and I want to basically bring that up as high as I physically can. Make sure that bit's masked up as well. Okay, it should be okay at least to there, I think. Okay, let's get back to my walls. So, what I want to do here, don't need any wood, let's move the wood. Okay, so I'm just going to take the trim brush. I'm going to take this piece that I've like clipped out. Alexa, turn off the office heater.
Okay.
Stephen and Andrew over on Facebook, good morning, thanks for following. Got any questions, or you want to just have a little chin wag chit chat, feel free, chip in. So it's going to do a little bit of oops, wrong. Do you know what? Leave it in. It's fine. I just need to change the colour spray first. And we go higher intensity, smaller size. Let's do another pass. Create some finer texture in there. Some inverted ones as well, so we've got a little bit of granularity going on. Okay, and then let's on high. Let's bring some of these rocks back. Some of these bricks. I'm liking this song. It's a new one, I don't think I've heard this one before. Reminds me a bit of Bastion. Have you ever played that one? Or Firefly. That's actually reminds me of. So I'm going to do one wall section breached out like this. I'm going to do another wall section that is basically just the end with a little rubber pile spill out. So basically it'll be this but in two parts, so you'll be able to position them and separate them out a little bit. and then we'll do 2 more sections that are. We'll have one of them that's longer and then destroyed towards the end, so it'll taper down to a point, and then we'll have another one which is maybe like partially smashed down halfway. Do the rubber pole first. While I've got these bricks, what I want to do position a few of them in the wall. Oops. Hey Grimsy, how you doing? Keeping well this morning. Just doing some wall building today. I say wall building, I've built the walls already, I'm destroying a few walls at the moment. Oh, that's easy. I'll show you in a second actually. Oops. So basically, what you want to be doing is to do with your structure down here. So let me just save this quickly and I'll demonstrate for you. So I'm guessing you're using your booleans with the live boolean preview, so everything's kind of stacking and showing. But I need to do a boolean on something over here on my animal corpses that I did last week. So let me just find the one that's got the this one, the camel. Okay, so guys have asked me to leave the legs attached to the vulture, but remove the vulture from the picture, from this item, so that he can be stuck on afterwards separately. So what I'm going to do is isolate all my vulture parts. Okay. I just need to do a few little adjustments here because I did stretch him and make him fit, actually, to be fair, to make him fit in one piece, but I think they're worried about him snapping off in transit, so they've asked for him to be like separated. Okay, so let me split him off first. Let's split unmasked. Okay. I'm just going to tidy up his tail a second. Just bear with me a second, Grimsy. Oh, Grimsy, if you're doing sculpting your ZBrush, by the way, I don't know if you're already on my Discord server or not. We launched a sculpting challenge for February. It's not a competition or anything like that. Maybe at some point we end up getting some prize sponsorships or something going on, but for now, it's just a personal challenge. Just get your creativity juices flowing and get you out your comfort zone a bit. Don't know if you'd like to take part, but if you do, let me just post the. You got it already. Sweet. If you go in there, there's a sculpting challenges channel, and you'll see it in there. And what we've done is we used a book called Fantasy Genesis by Chuck Lukex to basically generate a list of prompts. And the idea being that you take as many of those random prompts as possible and throw them together and try and create something that's a little bit unique. You don't have to use all of them. It's going to be really hard if you do try and use all of them, but try and use as many of them as possible and try and integrate them in ways that are kind of a little bit imaginative. All the challenge rules are on there. If you fancy joining in, you're more than welcome. We'd love to have you part of it. Oops, that's the wrong tool entirely. Let's turn the freehand back on. Okay, right then, so let me just... Right, you ready, Grimsy? Right, so I'm going to duplicate my two parts. So I've got the one I want to keep. I need the camel body, which is fine. So I'm going to let's get my word straight. I'm going to dynamesh this all together, and then auto group. You'll see it's all just one piece now. So this is one solid homogeneous mesh. Okay, I'll do the same with the carrion, the bird. I'm going to take polish off, I'm just going to dynamesh him. And I'm going to auto group just to show you that it's all one piece. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take this, I'm going to duplicate it, and right, so the one that is, so I want the bird I'm keeping. So I'm just getting it messy. Let me merge these two back together. Okay. So I've now got the bird, which is the one I want to boolean the leg sockets out. So the legs on this bird are going to get what do you call it? They're going to be booleaned out of the body, so the body will just sit onto them. So I'm going to go onto here. First thing I need to do is I need to take the first version of the camel, which is the one I'm going to remove from the vulture. I'm just going to inflate it a touch, because when you do a boolean, I'm just doing this by eye, but when you do a boolean, what happens is you print something, and because the tolerances for accuracy aren't 100%, the parts don't necessarily line up and fit properly, so you have to kind of make it a little bit bigger when you remove it, and that'll just help to give it a little bit of, it'll fit better basically, especially if you're going to be gluing it. You need to get a little bit of glue in there. So I've inflated the camel by about 16 points on here. Eyeball it and just do what you think. And then for the actual boolean itself, so this is my subtraction mesh. I'm going to set it to subtract. The eagle, the vulture. Morning, Rich. The vulture is my actual, the thing I want a boolean from. So this is going to end up with holes in the legs. This is the mesh that's been subtracted. So with them literally together like this, they've got to be dynameshed or it doesn't work. I'm literally just going to merge down. Okay. Now what you'll see is, I'll solo mode it. The piece you want to keep is going to be coloured. This is when you've got polyframes on, polygroups on. The mesh you want to keep is going to be coloured with a polygroup. The mesh that's being subtracted is going to be just white or grey or whatever, yeah? So then once I've done that, I just dynamesh again. The grey bit disappears, and you can see it's trimmed the tip off the tail, and it's cut out the 2 leg pieces. And that boolean's now completely baked into the model, ready for 3D printing to be exported. So if I just change that name to camel vulture. Sorry, mate. So basically, after I'd inflated the second piece here, I'll just go back through this now. Okay, so I had the vulture set as the start point. I had the camel set as a boolean subtract, the second option here, or the third option, sorry. And then I merged the two together. So starting with the start piece, they have to be above each other. So the start piece is at the top, the one below, the one I'm removing is just below it. And I just did merge down, so the two get joined together into one mesh, and this is what they look like then. So the piece you're going to be keeping, which is the one you selected as the start, that gets coloured with a polygroup. The subtraction mesh, which is the one that's below it in the hierarchy, that gets merged in, and it comes into the file, and it has no polygroup allocated to it, so it's just white. And then when you dynamesh again, you just literally control, click and drag. You dynamesh it again, and then it disappears, and you end up with this. Now the one thing you have to be careful of, if you're going to dynamesh this again, especially if you're going to be using groups, you'll notice that the legs have got a different group allocated. The first thing you want to do at this point now is just auto group it, because if you do a polygroup, a grouped dynamesh on this now, the legs will close over and you'll lose the boolean socket you've just created. Does that help? Does that all make sense to you? Did you get it, Grimsy? Okay, so now I've got my right, so the other thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you something else. It's really simple. I've been doing it for years this way. I never bother with the live booleans or anything like that. I probably should sometimes just to test fit it, but I normally do that, and if I balls it up and get it wrong, I'll just undo it and then redo it again. Right, now the next thing I'm going to do here now, I'm going to create some thickness to this. So I'm going to take the, thickness, I'm hollowing it out is what I'm doing. So all of these bits that I'm making for Footsore, they're going to go into production, and one of the things they're going to want to do is basically keep the costs down. So we're going to stretch these out. I'm going to take the very, very, very bottom of this. I'm just going to drag it downwards. Now I think, if I remember right, it was around about 22, I think it was, on my thickness, but I'll double check it. Control and D. I don't know about control and D, control and drag. So hold control and then basically get your mask. So if I just click the Dynamesh button here, then it's going to Dynamesh it. Should Dynamesh it. Yeah. Right, so I've now got a 1.5 million poly box. If I draw on that, yeah, if I draw on that and I want to Dynamesh the new bits I've drawn on it, I could either click Dynamesh again, or I can control, so I'm going into my masking brush, and then just drag, and then that will redo the Dynamesh. So that was how I typically do it when I've already got a mesh that's Dynamesh. If I'm working and I'm doing iterations and, like, you know, stacking it up, then that's the way I do it. Because the meshes are already going to be Dynameshed when you go into this, because they have to be Dynameshed for that to work. Like if you try and boolean to get this, sorry, if you do the boolean operation and then merge whatever with the boolean meshes, you do the merge bit. If you haven't already Dynameshed the mesh, what you'll find is the bit that was white that is going to be subtracted is going to come through with a poly group attached to it, and it's not going to work. And when you try and merge it, everything's just going to merge together, which obviously is not what you want it to do. So you've got to remember to merge it first. You've got to remember to Dynamesh it before you merge it. Now you can Dynamesh with groups and still do the poly group. So if you've got like 20 different pieces in there, like I had the honest camel corpse, I had like the ribs were separate, the skin was separate, the ground was separate, the bird was separate, his feet were separate, etc. So, because basically what I did was I made the whole skeleton the other day, did the entire skeleton, laid it down, and then I duplicated the skeleton, inflated it, turned this inflated skeleton into a skin that I kind of mashed up and tattered up like it was being picked apart by predators or scavengers. So I had the skin, I had the skeleton, I had the ground, all the separate pieces. The boolean will still work. You failed, right? Should we try again? I'll just talk you through it, yeah? I'll use a simpler example this time. So let me go to a different thing. Right, let's take a sphere. So make polymesh 3D, right? So I'm going to take a cube now. We're going to insert a cube. I want the cube to be bigger. I'm going to put it to halfway there, okay? So in my hierarchy, the cube is the piece I want to keep. The sphere is the piece I want to remove. So I'm going to take the sphere, I'm going to move it to below the cube. So the hierarchy on the subtools is the cube, which is the one I want to keep, set to start. So we click that little down arrow there, and that says start at the top. The second one here is the sphere. This is the piece we're removing. This is our boolean mesh, right? So I'm going to click onto this one here, which is the can't remember what they're called now, but that's the second boolean option there. So we've got the arrow, we've got the two joined together, and then we've got the two that are different colours. Sorry, one hollow and one solid, yeah? So this second option is the one we're going to select. I'm going to go and Dynamesh the cube, which has now made it 162,000 points. I'm going to go to my sphere, I'm going to Dynamesh my sphere. Okay, so I've got two Dynamesh meshes that are overlapping. I can go into the transparency mode to just make sure they're overlapping at the right depth. If I need to move the thing, I can obviously see where it's going to go. Or you can use live boolean and make sure everything works properly for you. So in that position now, I take my starting mesh as my active mesh. I go down to merge down. So we merge them. Now with polygroups active, you'll make sure you've done this right. So you can see I've got the square, which is the mesh I want to keep. That's set to a polygroup, so it's blue. And the sphere, which is the bit that's being subtracted and removed, has no polygroup, it's white. So you know that you've done the operation correctly. Now if I hold control and drag, so Dynamesh is already active, as you can see down here. hold control and I click and drag, it now creates the boolean for me. So it's the boolean mesh is completely removed. If you want to keep that and use it again, you've got to make sure you duplicate it. Now, I often use groups with Dynamesh to make sure I can keep my parts separate. If I put groups on now and I Dynamesh, I've got to do something first. It won't let me just Dynamesh again. But if I put groups on and then Dynamesh, you can see. Oh, it hasn't. Oh, it has. It's done something weird. Yeah. Oh God, what's? You can see it's created a horrible mesh anyway. So that's not what normally happens. That's bizarre. That is. So it's created. This box has now got a single skin all the way around, which is not. I've never had that happen before. And there's no thickness to the cylinder. What normally happens is the top here gets completely skinned over, and I end up with a box again. So you just have to then auto group beforehand. Make sure that when you do it, it's fine, and then when you Dynamesh, it's going to stay as a solid object. Any better, Grims? No, the only reason I did the auto grouping was just because. Oh, I don't know about Z remeshing. I don't tend to ever do that. Is this for? Are you talking about for? Are you Z remeshing prior to exporting an STL file? Texture in sub. Where are we looking? I'll be honest, it's not something I do. I mean, I would literally just run Z remesher straight away without anything else. I mean, there's no reason it shouldn't work. If we go back into here, you can see the mesh here. If we just go geometry and Z remesh, I mean, even without changing anything else, it should work fairly well. There you go. So the edges are a bit soft. It's probably to do with polygrouping like the faces or whatever else, and making sure it's got some crispness to those edges. Or do detect edges and try and get it to where, but hopefully that's giving you what you needed. When you finish, if you want to post any pictures into the Discord group and show us what you were working on, it's always welcome. And I say, don't forget to if you get a bit of time and you fancy joining in our little sculpting challenge, it'll always be good to see what you come up with. Let's get back to my walls. My mashed up walls. Where did I put them? Here. Okay. Let's turn the line off because I don't like it. No worries, Grimsy. You're more than welcome. Right, let's get the bricks back in. So what I'm trying to do, I don't know if you can see, but there's a brick pattern already in the wall. So I'm just trying to make sure my bricks kind of roughly line up with that. Doesn't have to be perfect because the point where the wall's exposed, the bricks are all smashed out anyway. Oops. Yeah, Grimsy. So the challenge is around a character. So basically, what we're saying is, let me just get the list of prompts up and I'll show you. Okay, so we come into the Discord server. Right down the bottom, we've got this sculpting challenges. There's one called February 2024 character challenge. So the first bit, I put a link to the Fantasy Genesis book. If you ever get creative block and you need some good ideas and a little challenge to kind of get your brain warmed up, I definitely recommend that book. It's brilliant. It's got me out of a rut a few times in the past, and the kids really kind of enjoy doing it as well. Like a little, you know, if they're ever bored, you just kind of give them a bunch of dice, get them to roll up a thing, and then set them to task drawing, and they love that. So we're doing 32mm scale models. So from the foot to the eye line of a human, average human. I've linked the model I normally use, which is my benchmark model, is there available for you if you want to use it. If you don't know what that looks like, I've got it in a scene here. This autosave go through and I'll show you. Where are you? There you go. This little dude down here. It's a different version of it. It's more sculpted than that. This is a 28mm edition of him. It's basically this base mesh with the 25mm base and this ruler in the scene. When you use them all together, basically, when you export the ruler as 100mm and everything else comes out relative. So your base is always 25mm. This guy is always 28mm to the eye line, but the one I've linked is the 32mm edition of him, so it's a slightly bigger scale. Well, here's a cracking chance to have a go. So create something new, so don't use any old models, just try and like come up with a new idea for it to get your brain working. Don't copy anything that already exists, don't use any AI to kind of generate your concept. The whole point is to get your brain working and stuff, so you can use an AI or copy stuff, you're just cheating yourself a bit. So any 3D program or clay, putty, pencil, paper, 2D paint, whatever else, you can use whatever you want to kind of create it. It doesn't have to be a 3D model. It doesn't have to be finished to a professional standard, so don't worry about kind of getting it polished and, you know, rendered and coloured or any of that kind of stuff. Just sculpt it, and then basically the prompts we've created or we've generated using the thing are a bee or a wasp, a mushroom, timid and bashful, swinging a weapon, electric bolts, and pen and paintbrush. So the point is obviously use as many of those things as you can. Some of them are going to be really difficult to kind of mingle together, so you don't need to worry about getting everything in there, and you can add other elements as well. You're not limited to only those things. And yeah, just use them to create a character. You can use them in any level of influence as well, so it doesn't have to be explicit. You could have design features that are just inspired by a bee, for example, or inspired by a mushroom. You don't have to have an actual mushroom in there. And I'll probably do my one on stream at some point soon, because well, if I don't, I'm gonna run out of time and I'm not I'm not gonna have it done. So we see Daniel Starling's had a little crack at it so far. He's come up. You can see. I think I'm seeing bits of wasp or bee in here because we've got like what looks like wings and stuff. This thing down here, whatever this is clearly mushroom inspired. Looks like a hammer perhaps. There's clearly an element of mushroom there going on. Then we've got the. I mean, it could be paintbrush. Could be this like ponytail. There could be a hint of a paintbrush going on there with the bristles for the ponytail whip. Again, I think we've got a stinger there on the back of the hand. Some chitting around the stomach and a little fur collar from a bee. The big goggly eyes from the thing. So, right. So if you're posting just general sculpts, we've got a channel up here under miniatures, sculpting and modelling. You can post straight into there. We've also got the challenge one. If you're doing this challenge, you can post straight into here. Or you can just fire stuff into general if you just want to pop it in there. So there's just find one that suits. If it's wrong, it's wrong. It's not the end of the world. So but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how people get on with this. Oh, what you got in? Is this just the start of your challenge thing? Is it? Is this a bit of bee going on in here? Oh, this is something you started last night. There's a bit of Guyver going on the head, I think, here. And it reminds me a little bit of Cypher from Pokemon a little bit. Be interesting to see where you take it. Let's get this wall mashed up. I think I've got enough bricks in there now. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to take my trim dynamic. Best way to do it sometimes, Grimsy. I mean, most of the time I do any sculpting, I start with no idea what I'm doing. So if you look at any of my past character sculpts, generally I've got an idea that I've got to make a character of some sort. Sometimes I've got a bit more of a brief on it, and I know what I'm sculpting, but it's rare that I've got like a concept art or anything like that. So most of my sculpts are just like I just wing them on the fly, really. But I like working like that. I enjoy kind of like having the freedom to, you know, do what I want to do and just figure it out on the fly. Right, now what you'll notice here is because it's hollowed, it has got this bit in the middle, so I do need to just insert a little block to let's pop a sphere in there, and we'll just bring that to fill the hole. This is just to create a kind of something to fill that area, so it's not a hole in the final piece. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, get off anytime you need to, it's fine. Okay, so I'm just going to take that. In fact, let's just take this whole piece, let's just dynamesh everything back together again. One poly group, there we go. So my clay build up brush just to mash up the outside edge. You know, that's Grimsy's mesh that you've made there's just giving me an idea about the about another option for a challenge. But rather than having a list of prompts, it can kind of give you just some random bit of mesh and just say, crack on, do your worst. That could be an interesting one. Mash up some of these bricks. Don't want anything too neat and uniform. We'll turn on dynamic tessellation here. Put a few cracks in the wall. Realised I've screwed up a bit, and that one is neither here nor there. Okay, let's duplicate that piece. Take this up to the next one. Right, now we're going to do this as two separate pieces. So let's lose that one. I don't need that one. That's too neat. Hey guys, I'm going to put you on a BRB for a second because I'm just bursting for the loot. So it's 12 o'clock, going for about 2 hours, and grab another coffee and I'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Okay guys, so do not go away. If you want to go to the store, have a little peruse, have a little shop. We do have a discount available, so just do that. go. Right, so have a little mooch, go into the web store, see if anything takes your fancy, and I'll be back with a fresh cup of coffee in a minute. Ready to crack on and do some more broken walls. I'll catch you in a minute, guys. Don't go away. Okay guys, back in. God, it's gone nippy out there right now. I'm very cold. I say not very cold, it's gone chillier than it was. And the wind is biting, it's horrible out there. Okay, what I was going to do with this one now, I was going to split it in half, wasn't I? So this is going to be the same as that, with a crumbled wall section. But there's going to be a cut in the middle, and they're going to be two separate pieces, so you'll have the option to just use one or the other, or put them together as two kind of sections. So I'm going to shorten the length of the wall. So I'm going to use the inflate to fill that thing rather than make spheres. So the same purpose, but different technique. We'll do a dynamish now. First thing I want to do is I'm just going to damage up the wall. Any bricks that are visible that are partly there, I'm going to remove entirely. And I'll reinsert fresh bricks. I say fresh bricks. I'll insert some damaged bricks from my rubble pile. Main thing I'm aiming for here is to not have this as a sharp edge. Okay. Just take that centre section out. Just going to do my colour spray thing again. Start with larger brush size just to get a bit of texture in there. I'm going to shrink it down and go for a smaller size. Just to add a little bit more detail. Bring that one back. It can become part of the actual wall. What are you sending me there, Grimsy? Ah, you're working on it again. It's taking shape. What are you thinking then? Do you have a plan for this one, or are you just completely like making it up as you go? interesting to see how it forms up. I quite like these ones where you go in there without a plan. You sometimes get some really good good results out of them. I mean, sometimes you just get frustrated and end up banging your head up the wall, but you kind of start it and hope that at some point the idea just pops into your head and you kind of have this like revelation moment where it kind of, you suddenly have this like this drive to turn around something great, but it doesn't always happen, unfortunately. I've been there sometimes where you're just completely uninspired and you've got to get something done, but you're trying and trying and trying, and no matter how much you work on it, you can't make it good. In those kind of cases, I think the best thing to do if you ever get that is stop, try something different for a bit, and revisit it later. Sometimes the inspiration's not there right at that moment in time, but it will come to you later on. There's been a couple of sculpts I've done that are like that. I can't think of exactly what they were, but I know I've definitely been in that situation where I've had that. I've been working on something else and then I've had an idea jump into my brain. Usually with a discussion with somebody else, and it's like something I've said has prompted some thought to pop into my head that makes me want to kind of go back and revisit something else. Oh, just as a random tangent as well, I've been doing a little bit of work over the weekend while I've not been in a position to do some sculpting. We had family around the weekend for a bit on Saturday, and I decided I was going to do a little bit of work on our Crystal Collapse website. A little bit here. Oh, I'm sure I added more to the homepage than this. I bet I've left it on the bloody laptop and haven't saved it. Oh, that's annoying. Yeah, it's here now. So I'm like a wiki for all the different characters. So every character now has got their own little wiki page. Where's your picture, Naggle? There he is. I'm not keen on this though. I didn't know this was... When I've built the pages, this bit wasn't here. So I need to see if I can get into the wiki kind of top level page and basically just nerf this out. Because this no categories thing is nonsense. Recent post doesn't need to be there and author doesn't need to be there. So I need to figure out which template page this is using, delete that, and then make this fill the entire page, which is how it was when I wrote it. So yeah, it's coming along nicely. Have I leveled up yet on my guild ranking? No, I'm still in this ship. How many more points do I need? I've got 18 points, 18 crystal shards. I need 25 to level up to a squire. So, cheers, Grimsy. So we've got the how to play sections done. So what do you need? Profile, movement, targeting, players, fields and terrain, actions, passive abilities, etc, etc. We've got a little bit of fluff about the different kingdoms and the heroes that are there. Okay. little world map. I think these. Oh, I still don't link us through. I'm sure I'll sure set these up to link. I'll have to go back and do it again. Yeah, I'm sure they work. Cause I've set all of the hyperlinks in the text. Oh well. Yeah, it's coming on. It's looking good. Pleased with how it's shaping up. Just need to get it launched now. So, oh shit, what was just done? Well, let's merge those into the chopped wall. Think of that one, yep. Now I already know what George is going to ask me to do with them, so I'll sort that out ahead of time. So then the last thing to do, we'll put that into the wall section that needs it. Where's the other brick wall? Okay, so George is going to want this hollowed out. So what I will do, I'll finish the last one first, not get distracted. I'll take this one here, we're just going to chop the end of the wall off here. Turn it upside down and just inflating there again. I'll just help to solidify that end. So it's not open. So I need the smashed out wall section, the rubber pole. Okay, so let's use a few of these busted bricks. I'm not sure what Control and D does, to be honest. Normally I either press the Dynamesh button or Control and drag on the background. So turn Dynamesh on here on this mesh. So it's now Dynamesh, all my groups are separate. Do a little bit of work on it and move a few things. And I want to re-Dynamesh it. Oh, divide, sorry, yeah. Yeah, yeah, what you're doing is dividing down here. It's a subdivision. You don't need to subdivide if you're using Dynamesh. All you need to do is just increase your Dynamesh resolution. So if you Dynamesh and it looks like a pixelated turd, then you want to kind of up your resolution to the point where you don't want to go too high straight away, because it will hang the hell out of the program. But you also don't want it so low that you have to deal with it looking awful, if you know what I mean. Because you don't want to have to re-sculpt in the detail. So you've got to try and get it, find that line. And the best way of doing it is Dynamesh at a low resolution, undo it, increase the resolution a tiny bit, redo it, and basically just keep lather, rinse, repeat on that process, undo and redo until you find a sweet point where your mesh is nice and sharp and the detail's all there. So the one I normally do, I'll bring something in and demonstrate it, but let's go into my sculpts library. Oh yeah. Yeah, my library's full of. I've been sculpting for since 2010, and when I do stuff, what I tend to do is I tend to keep it in like a separate library. Right. So here's an example for you then. So with this particular one, what I tend to do is I tend to find an area like the crease above the eye, around the eyeball. And down the scar here, for example, would be areas I'd look at. So for this face here, I just want to Dynamesh it. Right, that's terrible, yeah. That's not going to wash. That's not a passable Dynamesh. We started there and we end there. That's bad. So I was bumping up to 184 instead. So it was 124 to start with. I'll do that now. Obviously, it's better, but we've still got like a lot of pixelation going on in the creases, so it's not a smooth line. So we undo that. That was 168. So we go to 240, 224. Dynamesh it. It's getting better, but it's still not there. 272. It's close. It'd probably be passable for a print, but if I'm working on it still, I'm going to want it better than that. So we'll do that. Let's go to 400. And we'll Dynamesh it. Right, 400 is barely any change from. Oh god, 400 was barely any change from the original mesh. So 400 for me, I would say that would be an acceptable level of resolution to work to. But obviously, I've just had to go backwards and forwards a few times to try and find that. Now the problem is, I'm not going to do it because it will kill my program. If I slide that slider right up to like 1,000. Then it's going to instantly create a mesh that's like 2 million polys. If I bump it to 3,000, 4,000 or whatever, then it's going to make like a 50 million poly face, which obviously you can see at 320,000 there's enough stuff to work with on this on this mesh. I mean, if I undo it and we go to so we're starting at 455,000 polys. if I bump it to 576 and then dynamesh it, so it's now as sharp as it was to start with, but the mesh size has increased at 600,000. I'm still happy with that. I'd work with that without any issues, but I know I can make a bit of saving on it. So it can be more efficient and more better. More better? That's a stupid way of speaking, isn't it? It can be more efficient and better than it was. But yeah, it's not a drama. The component library, by the way, just as a point of interest. So all that stuff you saw in here, let me just show you. So I have a component library here which is split up into accessories, anatomy, animals, clothing and armour, a few random bits that need to be better filed, some modular components, a load of weapons and whatever. We've got pole arms, there's a whole bunch of different spears and scythes and things like that in there. Swords and daggers, there's tons in there. Some of these things I've made by request, some of them are just out there because I've made them for things I've used. And there are tons of things. There's heads in there for Kenku, there's heads in there for Mortlock, who was a character I made. Dragon Cult masks, bottles of wine. We go into anatomy, there's a whole bunch of different heads and hands and things like that. Wings in there. What else? We've got miscellaneous. We've got stars, we've got a baker's paddle, we've got some candles, a chef's hat, a shell, a deku leaf from Legend of Zelda, a flaming torch, pack of meat, mushrooms, various pouches, a runic pillar, a skull. So there's loads and loads of different things. Teddy bear. And all of these things are available through my Patreon as well. So the Patreon, until last month, I was offering it as a kind of new miniatures every month thing. But we've changed it up now. So it's patreon.com/LT minis. It's no longer subscriptions each month. So basically what I'm doing is it's more of a learning resource now. So we've got the live streams. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be stripping out some of these live streams and putting back like YouTube videos, like time lapses with like explanations and talkovers about things, and also doing a few more like tutorial videos. They're going to go through the Patreon's first port of call. But I do all of these things through the Patreon. You get discount through the website as well, so you get 40% off STL files, 20% off resin. Welcome pack when you sign up with a bunch of different models. But yeah, get access to the component library. So all of those little bits that I've made over the years get filed into there, and it's available to you guys to use. So if you're sculpting and you're learning about sculpting, and you're practicing making stuff, then there you go. It's there and you can use it in your sculpts. Can't use it commercially unless you ping me a line first and come to an agreement on it. But if you want to just use it for your own stuff and just develop your own pieces, then yeah, it's a thing and you can use it. Oh, back to these gantries. Let's actually get one done. yeah, you guys get to reap the benefits of what's that? 14 years of digital sculpting. Raid my assets. I do need to add them onto the website really as well, I think. Yeah, making a component library is a really good idea if you're doing digital sculpting, because it's when you get into doing like commercial workflows, which obviously is what I do most of the time. We're doing like production runs where I'm going to make models quickly. Like a typical character model for me is probably now in a region somewhere between like 3 or 4 hours, start to finish. Part of the reason for it being as quick as it is because I've got this component library, so I can kind of take, if I need a sword, rather than having to make a sword from scratch, I can take a sword from my library, and then customizing it is a lot quicker than trying to sculpt a new one. It gives me like a basis to work from. Actually, I don't need any of them. Some rubble back in between the bricks. think I should be happy with that. Let me just check it. That now. Right, now I just need to pop my emails open. A few emails coming from Mark over the weekend from Futsal, which included some images of ballistas. Bolt throwers. Oh, I see. Okay, so using the human guide model, which I was talking about earlier. Probably shouldn't do this in the same file because it's starting to get a big file. This is. I should probably move it onto a different one, but I'm not gonna. Let's pop it now. No, I'll just save it as a Z tool, and what I'll do is when I finish it here today, I'll save a Z tool down. Save the file. I'll save a Z tool, and then the Z tool file I can reopen into a different file, into a different project. So give it the head. Let's take dynamic perspective off. I'm going to rotate this guy around so I can actually work in the correct orientation. Okay, I'm going to get onto a quick block out. Oops. So we want this up to probably about shoulder height looking at, or just short of shoulder height. That there is fine. Thumbs up from Mark on the, on the wall sections. Okay, that's baffling me. Why's that happened? That's fine. Right, this is a bit where it's going to get orky, I think. Not meant to press delete hidden, I meant to press delete lower. I've just got the wife calling me, I think. Just give me 2 seconds. Let me just mute you. Sorry guys, forgot to unmute. So I'm just making a little cutout in the side so that the what do you call it? What do we call it? The arms. The arms can come through. Go. I keep getting these like notifications on my phone saying there's a person in your garden. But it's basically just me walking up and down the garden. We had one of these, got one of these Ring cameras, connected to the same like doorbell system we've got. Obviously you've got motion notification and intruder detection and all that kind of good stuff. But it's only me going up and down the garden. It keeps sending me messages every time I go up and down. Right, 2 ways to do the things here. We've got a domed top on these cylinders. I want to get rid of the domed top. I've got 2 options for it. I can either go into ZModeler, crease the edges before I subdivide, and that will keep the edges nice and sharp. Or if I'm going to be dynameshing, which I am, just dynamesh it and then use the slice tool. So just slice the top and slice the bottom where I want them. Extend it beyond where I want it, of course. Group and polish, dynamesh, and then delete the rest of it. I've got a nice flat, sharp top to the cylinder. Both methods work. This one's a little bit quicker. Particularly if you just want to get stuck in. do a little Google search or something. What I want to see here, what I'm looking for, let me show you. How are the arms mounted? So, it looks like they're twisted into some like twisty ropes. Yeah, it is. It's twisted ropes, isn't it? I mean, that one's using a metal structure, like a spring, I suppose, rather than I mean, that one's using tons of ropes. It looks like all mounted together and wrapped up. I have to say, I think strings is the way to go. I think the cables. Yeah, there we go, look. So we've got like a ratchet system on here. We've got the winch at the back. I imagine these levers up here are for tensioning the I mean, that is enormous. That's a massive thing, that. Right, so let's do my trick again. We're going to go radial symmetry, local symmetry, radial symmetry, y-axis 2. God, it's going to work on this one. So trying to sculpt this as a as a symmetrical or radially symmetrical thing did not work. Is this about right? I hate doing roads, by the way. I don't like the look of ropes that have been done with curved brushes. They never look or feel right to me. It's really hard to try and get them to wrap around things the way you want them to. And because I sculpt everything anyway, I'd rather have a sculpted texture, sculpted finish. If you're watching me thinking, why the bloody hell isn't he just using the curve brush? That's why. So I'm trying to give the impression of 3 strands wrapping around themselves. Hey Rosie, how you doing, mate? You got for your lunch today, man? Chow down a cheese and chutney sandwich when I went for my coffee earlier. It's getting on for lunchtime. I better eat before I end up starving. Eggs and BLT Sani. Is that eggs, comma, and a BLT Sani? Right? Is that like one of those meal deal ones where you get the, I think our local One Stop does them, it must be a Tesco one I think, but you get like a pack of 2 eggs as a snack on the side of your sandwich. Ah, that's too low resolution. That'll do. Let's save that enough before I kill it. Is that one of them little silicone jobbies that goes in the microwave, is it, mate? Coddled egg jobbies. Can't beat eggs, can you? Well, you absolutely can beat eggs because that's how you make an omelette. You know what I mean? Yeah, one of our default dinners. You know when you're just can't be bothered to cook. Our default dinner lately has been egg and chips. Although sometimes I do it with like sauteed potatoes instead. Chop a little bit of onion, a bit of onion and green chilli into the pan, and then toss your potatoes in there, or throw in a handful of cooked chips. And a good grind of salt and pepper. Perfect. So the other quick and easy one I've been doing a lot lately is the ramen noodles. Just get some grated carrots, some chopped spring onions, soft boil an egg, chuck some noodles in to cook. Just raid and see whatever else I've got to throw in there as toppings, like a bit of fried mushrooms or something maybe, or got any leftover meat, ham or whatever, chop it up and chuck it in. It's a nice quick dinner. That's it, yeah. Minimal effort, maximum reward. That's what makes a good dinner. It's not what makes a good dinner. It's what makes a good weeknight dinner when you can't be bothered. Pork chops, nice. We had a pork fillet last night. I chopped it up, fried it in little little medallions, drizzled with a little bit of honey at the end. Did it with some nice mashed potato, and I've got some of the gravy left over from the last time I did pulled pork shoulder. So took out my nice pork gravy, served it with that. And, sliced red cabbage with apples. Braised red cabbage with apples, rather, I should say. Very, very nice. I recommend that with your pork chops, actually. Right. mash with veggies and gravy. Do you know what? Can't knock that. Hey shit, wrong mate. If you're having your dinner cooked for you, everyone's a winner, aren't you? Well, everyone's a winner, you're a winner. I don't know what I'm having for dinner tonight now, because we've got Jacob's mates coming round after school, and he's a bit of a fussy eater. But the kids are having hot dogs for their dinner, but I don't know what we're going to have for ours then. Well, let's just check and have a look at the designs of these again. Alright, so we've got some kind of cog at the top, I think. Okay, so well, that's interesting. There's the inside out, way off the mine. Go away. Right. So in a straight position, we've got these wads of ropes. They look to be tied over some. Yeah, that's it, mate. I'm just trying to figure out the winding mechanism here. Oh, jeez. Do you know what I just thought? Yeah, I know they're stone ones, but they still use the same kind of mechanism on the arms. It's just this bit here where we've got the arm of the ballista. So I want the arm to be mounted up. I've done this like rope twist thing. I was going to try something because I have got another rope I made before. Right, so here's a rope I made the other day when I was doing the wells. So if I 1, 2, if I take 4 of them. If I take 4 of them and then position that. Well, here we go. So that needs to be pulled back like that, doesn't it, really? And then I need to put a twist into it, so let's just try the twist modifier. It seems to be something like along those lines. There's definitely, I've seen, like, looking at the images, there's some designs that are using like a cog system with like a little kind of crank handle. So there's definitely like a tightening mechanism at the top and the bottom. Well, I think I'm happy with that. For now, until they come back and say no, you got it wrong. But it's for a fantasy one, so it's should be fine. Let's see if can I put another twist in it. That's cool, mate. I think I've got it anyway. I'm pretty happy with the. I think what I might do is just put a little, because it's fantasy. I'll just put a little capping plate on the top. So Rose, are you going to be getting yourself into the old world again, or are you done with it? Susan Sommer, Grande Out. What's that? So it wasn't Susan Sommer, it was Susan Summer. Susan, what's her name? Have you seen that? Is it Philomena Clunk? Kunk. She's funny, man. Right. So we have ropes tied to the arms, going back to the sling, and then there's a, is it like a hook with a winch on it? Right, so I'm imagining then this little thing slides back in a runner, pulls back into the tension position, and that little lever basically going to press that down, release the firing catch. That's going to lift that arm up, the string's going to let go, and they're going to shoot the thing out, yeah? Oh, do we go for the big arm or should we go for the rotating handle? So pressing down used to be the early ones, later models were a pull.